All right, shalom, 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 y'all. Shalom. It's Michael Israel. You're watching Spiritual Combat, and today we are talking about thoughts are not facts. Okay? Thoughts are not facts. And I definitely I'm going to have to put an S on the end of that. I'm going to do it now. On the end of that title. Thoughts are not facts. And, we kind of, I see, you know, I think people are getting stuff twisted up. Um, I've always seen this out there in the religious realm where, you know, people hyper spiritualize the book and they miss what the book's actually saying. And a good chunk of this book is about getting your mind right. Um, Knowing that, you know, the other part to this video is, how important it is to not believe everything you think. And stuff like this can be almost like mind warping to somebody. Don't believe everything you think. People have fallen, people are so um, locked in with their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. They basically justify them. I watch people justify their thoughts, feelings, and emotions over what the word says. Um, and I mean, me included. So let's just keep it 100. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is because this is where the focus of the work needs to be at, is on thoughts, feelings, and emotions. You know, we, Pastor did a good he did an awesome sermon yesterday talking about the spirit of bondage, um, and how people are just locked into that. To the point where one of the things he was saying was where when you try to push people out of it and encourage people to grow and develop, they harbor resentment. They get bitter. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, a lot of people, they just, like I said, they're locked in on their thoughts, and they regard their thoughts as facts. And I get, when you read the word, there's an underlying communication throughout the whole word that, hey, you can't just go with your thoughts. And I've seen some stuff, you know, over the last couple weeks and months where people have shown where, man, they're just completely submitted to their thoughts and not the word. So what I have here, it says thoughts are not facts. Our minds generate countless thoughts, many of which are assumptions and biases. Satan can influence your thoughts. This is why you have a scripture, the scripture I read all the time. Let me see if I can find it here. We got a couple scriptures actually. But bringing every thought into captivity. So the Bible verse where it talks about bringing your thoughts into captivity, um, and making sure they're in alignment with the word. I have the Bible verse. I'm gonna read it here, the whole thing in its entirety in a sec. But this is what that's about, and it's what's the word to say about it? It's just sad and it's frustrating to watch people's behavior and watch how when people get emotional everything in the word gets thrown right out the window. This has been the pattern I have seen in Israel, among our people, among African Americans, or whatever you want to call them, since I've been in this so-called Hebrew Israelite thing. Even prior to Straightway, I've seen many splits in assemblies, camps, groups, whatever you want to call it, due to this fact. This is one of the main, I would say the main, and I would almost move to say the issue why we can't come together as a nation, as a people, why we stay at the bottom. This is one of the main curses on Israel. It's just this thing here. People thinking thoughts are facts and believing every thought that comes up in their mind. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, this is a major thing. So we're gonna look at why you shouldn't, just some practical, conceptual reasons why you shouldn't be taking thoughts as facts. Why you should question thoughts, feelings, and emotions that come up in your mind. You should question them and not trust in it. You need to trust in the word of Yah. You know what I'm saying? In how to deal with situations and everything. This is why we need to meditate on the word day and night, so we have something to bump against, like we have something solid to compare and contrast what comes up in our mind to. Okay? All right. So thoughts are not facts. We already read that. Here's some of the reasons. Cognitive distortions. Our thinking can be skewed by mental shortcuts and errors. We need to observe our thoughts, so you need to pay attention to them. And just literally, if you're studying the word and you simply look at your thoughts and see what you came up with, your mind is automatically going to compare it with that word. You see what I'm saying? It's spiritual. All right. So, like I said, you need to question your thoughts. Focus on the word. Focus on the true evidence. Focus on factual stuff. Keep your focus on that. Not be focused on what's popping up in your head. And like I said, I did, and this is gonna go under that series, and I realize I'm gonna continue adding to that series, that biblical self-development or biblical spiritual development series, whatever the playlist is. I'll put it up at the end of this. Whatever that is, you need to. This is why I did that series, because y'all, it's like rampant where people, like when them emotions get going, it's like, it's rough, man. Like people run with it. And eventually the thoughts, feelings, and emotions will take control and just have you just fully submitted to Satan unknowingly. And this is why you got to add a word in you. And this is why it's a war. It's a battle. Okay? So you got to question your thoughts. Look for evidence. Practice emotional regulation. Like you don't have to, like people have made their feelings and their emotions their God. And whatever those feelings tell them to do, they act it out. And that's called behavior. Okay? Let's see. Something I talked about before, I probably need to do a show on this, is practicing critical thinking. Okay, this is with that Bible verse that we're going to read here in a little bit. This is what it's talking about. Okay? Is analyzing information objectively and evaluating its credibility. So you have to analyze your thoughts objectively and evaluate what's going, these thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are popping up in your head. You have to evaluate them, um, you know, just very critically and analyze it and objectively, you know what I'm saying? And look into it instead of just, a lot of times pride will have people thinking that, people's pride will have them thinking that, hey, I'm good to go. There's no issue. You know what I'm saying? I don't need. Well, that ain't me. This, that, and the other. And then some type of situation come up, and something else manifests. You know what I'm saying? So let me let's read this. I'm gonna pull up this. I think this Second Corinthians. Okay. Um, okay. All right. Let me get it in the KJV version. That's the one I'm used to. All right. So it says, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against, the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought into the captivity. Hold on. Into bringing into captivity every thought into the obedience of Christ. So making sure your thoughts, feelings, emotions, behaviors are in alignment with this word. And I'm telling you, you don't have to look far where you see people get fully in their feelings. All this is thrown out. And look, I am not sitting here saying I have not fallen victim to this. But and I'm not saying it's easy, because it can be a battle. Okay, so I'm keeping it 100. However, I see some people, man. Not only do they not even catch themselves, they're just fully given over and convinced that their thoughts, feelings, and emotions are facts. And that's when you see people come. They'll take the scripture, the word, and twist it to their to line up with their warped thinking. And what it amounts to is, you listen to them, they're speaking on the word, and it don't hit. it don't hit right. You know what I'm saying? You could discern it. You could discern it in your spirit that, something's off. The word don't be cutting because they're twisting it. So Romans chapter 12 verse 2 says, "And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." And I gotta do what I always do. I always got to come to the practical application of why this is so critical and why it's so important. We can't build a nation with people who believe every thought that comes up in their mind, and they don't uh, um, bring it into the obedience. They don't compare it to what's in the word. They don't analyze the thoughts and make sure it's in alignment with the word. They're not in the habit of doing it. And what when you've meditated on the word, like the word tells you to, day and night, you keep it on your mind, and you begin to become aware of what's popping up in your mind, eventually these will combine, and it'll just become who you are. You'll walk in the spirit. You see what I'm saying? So you don't fulfill the lust of the flesh. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. Okay? So what I told y'all to do earlier is to stop believing every thought. Stop trusting every thought. Why? Because what the word tells you to do, Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5, it tells you to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Okay? So, it didn't tell you to trust in your feelings. It didn't tell you to trust in your thoughts and your emotions. It says trust in the Most High. And then he will guide your path. But again, the Bible tells you will know them by their fruits. You watch how people walk, and you could tell who's guiding, what path they're on, and who's guiding them on that path. You see what I'm saying? This thing ain't complicated. And we're gonna go deeper on it. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Okay? And that's another way of saying the flesh is deceitful and desperately wicked. Who can know it? You see what I'm saying? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. Okay, so that's Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7. Okay, but let me verify that for y'all. Okay. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Okay, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. And again, I got to go back to what I was talking about earlier, where Pastor was talking about the spirit of bondage that's on people, where they're just, arrested in their development, or whatever you want to call it. And people will despise wisdom and instruction. And, it's like a lot of people come into this, they don't understand what it is. It's like, y'all, the Bible tells us to gather ourselves together, O nation, not desire. And people don't see the strongholds, behaviors, mindsets, whatever you want to call it, that are causing us to not be able to come together as a nation. These mindsets that are generational curses, that are the curses that we're under for a lack of disobedience, of lack of being obedient to the word. Because of our disobedience, the Most High said these curses will come upon you as a nation. And there's a lot of them cause division and just the inability to have fruitful relationships. And if you disobedient to Yah's word, it's like 1 + 1 = 2. Well, being disobedient to Yah's word equals curses. You see what I'm saying? Equals dysfunction. Let's see what we got. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good, acceptable, perfect will of God. Okay? So that's another good one. Psalms 119, 105. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light unto my path. See, and once you truly embrace this, not just talking a good religious, spiritual, if y'all have ever been around me and know me, I am not like I ain't got that whole church Christian religious spirit. It's a practical spirit. And when you realize on a practical level what this word is trying to do, what Yah is trying to do with his word, like that he is seriously trying to have you live a peaceful life without a bunch of heartache and pain, all this stuff. He's literally trying to help you have life and have it more abundantly with the word he's giving you. You realize in a true practical sense that this word is truly a light unto your path. But man, I'm telling you, man, that religious spirit, man, it's another one of Satan's deceptions to lead you astray. You see what I'm saying? It's another slick deception to lead you astray and make you feel like you're doing something when you really ain't. So what I got here, what I wrote here is the fruit of a good spirit, because a lot of people, people talk about fruit and works and this, that, and the other. And what I tell people, it says you'll know them by their fruit. Faith without works is dead. And like I said, I've been out there in the so-called Hebrew Israelite community. I've been around our people, and when we come together, we can't even do the simplest thing together. We can't even come together just to do something simple together as a nation, as a people. Because people's spirits are so jacked up because they have made gods of their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. You can't even get them to come together and do the littlest thing. I've seen this firsthand. In the meantime, these other nations, let's take China for instance, they got a navy that is beginning to rival our navy. They got an economy, they got a government, they got a huge landmass, they got damn near every city, every major city in America has a Chinatown where they work together, got their own bus system, this, that, and the other. And then you look at us, so-called African Americans or whatever you want to call. We are so rebellious. We are so rebellious and jacked up mentally. The word says, I'll put a yoke of iron upon your neck until you be destroyed. And then once we're destroyed, guess what? That yoke of iron is off the neck. You see, you go out there, our people don't have anything on them, but we are completely destroyed as a nation. And listen, let me break this down. When I was in the military, our unit went to Thailand, and they were talking about how impoverished these people were and how poor these people were, and how beneficial it was to be in America, this, that, and the other. But the other thing they said about those people over in Thailand, they were some of the most content people you could ever see. They said there's the suicide rate there is like nothing. They're like the people give you the shirt off their back. They're some kind people. And then you look over here in America, suicide rate off the chain, this, that, and other. And a lot of people are deceived in America thinking, America's the best place to be because of all the material stuff. But people are, the mental bondage and the mental poorness here in America is off the charts. Okay, so the point I'm getting to, a lot of people look at black people in America. Oh, you got this, you got that. Man, they have done a mental. They have destroyed us in this country to a level that is unheard of, where our women will kill their own babies and will actually make songs proudly declaring that they are aborting their babies. If you think I'm lying, look at the rapper Glorilla. Okay, you have another rapper making songs about and being proudly declaring about having and catching STDs to the point where they made a lip gloss line named after different STDs and disgusting lewd sexual acts. So people think, oh, it's such a benefit to be over here. If you look at the condition of our people in this country, because of the mental warfare that's been waged against them because they choose not to come together as a nation, man, there is nobody more destroyed than African Americans here in America. You could talk about the Indians, they're destroyed pretty well, but not on the level that our people are destroyed. They're like out killing themselves and singing about it proudly. You know what I'm saying? At least the Indians are like, oh, and they kind of know, you know, the Native American Indians, but our people are singing and glorying in their shame, and it's exported worldwide, and it makes millions and billions of dollars, the music they make about their destruction. There is no one on earth destroyed to this level. And I'm talking about even when you go to the Caribbean islands, Jamaica, and other areas, the level of mental bondage that our people are in this nation is unheard of. And even in this Hebrew Israelite thing, our people wrestle with that mental bondage. We haven't fully come out of it yet. It is insane. Y'all put a 100 in the comments if y'all get what I'm saying. Okay? Yeah, y'all put a 100 up in there if y'all get where I'm coming from. It's like it's funny, man, because I meet people from Africa, from who come from the Caribbean, all that stuff like that. Man, they still like you can see they got a different mindset. Their minds haven't been destroyed to the level that people who grow up in this country are destroyed. By what? The modern day um uh yoke around the neck and chains. The modern day chains today is the media. That's and now it's changed. Is social media is the modern day chain and bondage on our people. Mainstream social media. Okay, so I wanted to put that out there because when you got your spirit right and your mind's right, y'all see some of these verses I read earlier. Now you're able to actually come together and do stuff that's actually tangible, like what you see being done here in Straightway. You see people who've done a significant amount of spiritual work of getting delivered from spirits of bondage in different areas of their mindset and stuff like that, and put into work so that now they're able to come together, live together, have all things in common. build together instead of going to other nations to build. They're able to build places to live. They're able to begin growing their food. And a lot of people, again, because the damage that's been done to them by this beast system, they don't see the importance. We're blind to the importance. Why is there a push to grow food? Why is there a push to build? Like a lot of people, I don't see the importance and the significance of it. Well, that's all you need to live. You need a place, a roof over your head, and you need food to eat. If you have that, you can greatly cut out your reliance on other nations. You see what I'm saying? If you can get good at growing your food and building your own places to stay, now you've greatly cut your reliance on their capitalism system, on their money, and on their resources. Because for the most part, the earth provides the bulk of what you need. So you put up a nice, solid home, and you get good at growing your food, you really have cut your expenses super low. Okay? But what they're doing out here, the cost of living is so expensive. They make it so expensive. They got you renting. They're trying to make you rent everything. So now you got to work as a slave for them indefinitely. And then they got you buying. Now listen to this closely. They got you buying their food. The food they give you. You're paying a whole ton of money for that. A lot of people are eating out now. So you're paying a ton of money for their food. And what does their food do? Make you sick and make you weak. So then you got to go into their medical system and get destroyed even more. So anyway, but getting back on topic, the fruit of a good spirit, when you've done this spiritual work, these are some of the manifestations you have: a positive attitude, optimism, resilience, and resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks. Empathy. Oh, this is a big one. This is one a lot of people wrestle with. A healthy spirit often includes understanding and compassion to others. So literally being able to understand other people and why they might do some of the stuff they do, instead of causing an argument and having this thing, you're learning to love your brother as you love yourself. But if you don't love yourself, how are you going to love your brother? And what's loving yourself? Doing this work to get your mind right. Knowing that your thoughts are not facts. You see what I'm saying? Collaboration. A positive spirit encourages open communication, cooperation, and shared goals. So being able to collaborate, work together, do projects together, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. Conflict resolution. Dare I say that word? A healthy spirit can help diffuse tensions and find common ground during disagreements. You see what I'm saying? This is Satan keeps us broken apart and tore apart through this very thing, inability to resolve a conflict, being motivated, and the last thing that I have here, that the fruit of a good spirit is going to be strong relationships. Positive interactions build trust and teamwork and everything like that. Okay, so let me see what else I got here. So one of the things we have to do is tune out the noise and focus on the signal. Okay, you have to stop paying attention to what you're feeling sometimes, and stop just accepting what you're feeling. You got to just learn how to not focus on it. Focus on the signal. Focus on the word. Okay. Let me see what else I got here. Let me see what y'all saying. If y'all saying anything in there, got a couple comments. All right. It says, so some of those things, is like First Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 15. Um, See that none render evil for evil unto any man, but always follow that which is good, both among yourselves and to all men. So again, that's a heavy one. That type, that requires a lot of uh, you know, spiritual self development. And like I said, that's that playlist. I got a whole playlist, tons of videos, so that folks could begin getting this foundational thing set up. What does it mean to not render evil for evil? Don't retaliate, avoid revenge, and overcome bitterness. We need to pursue goodness, build positive relationship, love your neighbor. And when it talks about building positive relationships, sometimes it's not rendering evil for evil if you just distance yourself and remove yourself from certain types of people. Sometimes that's what you got to do, But when you have malicious intent, you're trying to destroy them or whatever, then it's something else. Okay, let's see what else I got here. Be ye angry and sin not. And it tells you don't let the sun go down on your wrath. And you can be angry, okay? Again, don't get so religious with this. It's not a sin to be angry. But with wrath is anger acted upon. Okay? So be angry, but don't sin. Don't try to do something. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. And it talks about instead of a friend, become not an enemy, for thereby thou shalt inherit an ill name, shame, and reproach. Even so shall a sinner that have a double tongue. So don't become an enemy. Don't try. I'm going to war. It's on now. Type stuff. It says a soft answer turn away wrath. That's another one. And it tells you don't hate your brother in your heart. Your brother can frustrate you and really get you angry, but when it turns to hate, then it starts working against you. You know what I'm saying? Okay, here's another one in Leviticus. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord God. Okay? That's Leviticus 19. The first one I read was 17. The second one was 18. Okay? And again, it's telling you how to feel, So when there's, and you got to understand that there's one thing where, hey, I'm going to just stay away from this person or whatever. But then another level to that where you're going into the sin realm is when you're bearing a grudge. And that is for the individual to search his own heart or her own heart to know, hey, am I bearing a grudge Or what is this? What do I got going on here? Take some time of reflection to go through all that. Look up. Let's see. I'll do that for y'all. Hold on. Suffer. Thou shalt not avenge. Here, we're going to look up the definition of grudge so we could get some more context and understanding on what that word means. Okay. All right. It says a persistent feeling of ill will or resentment resulting from a past insult or injury. Let's see. The grudge. Let me see. Resent. Okay. So, resentfully unwilling to give, grant, or allow. Okay, so let's see. Grudge. I'm seeing if there's a better definition. So, it says a strong feeling of anger or dislike for a person who you feel has treated you badly, especially one that lasts for a long time. A grudge is a feeling of anger, bitterness, resentment towards someone, something. And then I'm gonna show you how to overcome a grudge or know whether you're holding a grudge. But look, a feeling of anger, dislike. Hold on. Okay, bitterness. Okay, we're going to see the definition of what that is. Anger. Okay, bitterness. Sharpness of taste, lack of sweetness. Anger or disappointment at being treated unfairly. Resentment. Okay? Resentment. Here's a definition of resentment. Is a feeling of anger or displeasure at something that is considered an insult, wrong, or injury. See, and this type of stuff can, if you harbor it, I teach about detoxification and cleansing and healing with herbs and stuff like that. And I talk about the lymphatic system and how harboring bitterness, resentment, grudges, stuff like that can shut down your lymphatic system and cause toxins to back up in your body and cause disease. It's the pathway to disease. So how do you get over that? How do you overcome that? Okay, how do you overcome holding a grudge and stuff like that? Well, you have to practice empathy. You literally got to detach from your feelings, thoughts, feelings, emotions, because they're not facts. We said that earlier. And you're gonna have to look at things from the other person's perspective. And you have to look at yourself also. You know what I'm saying? You have to look at what's going on with you. You got to look at what's going on inside of you. You have to love yourself before you can love your brother. You know what I'm saying? Because it tells you to love your brother as you love yourself. But if you don't love yourself, if you don't know yourself, how are you even going to love yourself? And a lot of people don't understand. They don't know what's operating inside them. But the way to overcome the grudge is, okay, what was he feeling? Why was he responding? But if you haven't dealt with your own emotions, when you try to ask that question and when you try to take that look, your own emotions are going to rise up like, forget him, forget her, this, that, whatever. And it's just going to scramble you from even being able to take that hard look. See, and this is the major work that needs to be done for us to, function the way we need to function. Again, I was in the military, I was in the Air Force, and I watched highly functional teams and systems operate on a high level. you know, and a lot of these other nations, they're able to resolve issues because a lot of these other nations, they're not as wicked as we try to make them out to be. We way worse. We be way worse. You know what I'm saying? Um, Something I said uh, in an earlier show, I'm gonna say it again. It is so easy. The easiest thing in the world to do is to tear stuff up. Is to tear something up. It is so easy to tear up a marriage. It's so easy to tear up a business, a team, an assembly, you name it, whatever it is. Y'all, it's so easy to tear stuff up, man. It's like anybody could do that. It's easy to give up. It's easy to quit. It's so simple to quit. It's easy to quit. It is so simple to give up and to quit on stuff. That's the easy thing. You want to know what's hard? It's hard to cultivate a relationship. That's challenging. It's a very delicate thing. It's easy to be a caveman, but it's to cultivate a relationship, to cultivate, to have an assembly. Like we have a home assembly here, man. We got to be very considerate of each other. We do. We have to be very considerate of each other in an assembly. Okay. So yeah, it's easy to tear something up. Have it. We're gonna read 1 Peter chapter 2. Having your conversation honest among the nations, the Gentiles, that whereas they speak against you as evildoers, they may, by your good works, which they shall behold, glorify God in the day of visitation. So we want our works to be exemplary of, like when they see us, they're like, man, that whatever is in that word, whatever's in that Bible is on point. You know what I'm saying? It's like you look at the Chinese culture, and it's like everybody, like the Japanese culture and the Chinese culture, everybody want to be a part of that because they see some of the fruit that's come from it. So a lot of people will look into some of the things they're doing and be attracted to it. You know, so that's how we have to be moving and operating with this word, with our actions, our behavior. And I'm talking to myself too, because I done behave like one of our people, like a ninja. You know what I mean? I don't want to say the word on here, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I done done ignorant things that upon reflection, that's not a good reflection on this word. Especially, me and Corey were talking about social media, how it wasn't like that back in the day. Um, if something happens now, somebody could go to social media and the whole world can see what's going on, and it could work in your favor. Where it's like, wow, look at the brotherhood, look at their mindset, look at their beliefs. Like when you see us here in Straightway, we're building buildings and we're living together and we're coming together, and we put that on social media and the whole world sees it. But also, when there's conflict and shit's going on, it can be a bad look in the other direction. Like I said, media is a tool, and it's a powerful tool. You know what I'm saying? So let's continue reading. Submit yourselves. This is 1 Peter chapter 2. let me go back. It says, they may be uh, your good works, which they shall behold, glorify in the day of visitation. So he's saying, let our good works, um, let the evildoers be able to see and behold our good works, so they could be like a testimony to them. All right, the next verse, First Peter chapter 2, verse 13. So it says, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme, or unto governors as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers and for the praise of them that do well. And then y'all know this one, because this was a major verse for me, overcoming my disobedient mind in the military. We skip down a couple verses to 18 in First Peter chapter 2. It says, servants, be subject to your masters with all fear, not only to the good and the gentle, but also to the froward, which means the difficult. It also means the unrighteous. It's telling you to be subject to them. For this is thankworthy, if a man for conscience towards God endure grief, suffering wrongfully. For what glory is it, if when you be buffeted for your faults, you shall take it patiently? So he's like, if you get rebuked for your faults, and it's a legitimate fault, and you take it patiently, it is what it is. It's no big deal. It's like whoopee-doo. But if when you do well and suffer for it, so you did right, and now you suffer for it, ye take it patiently, this is acceptable with God. For even thereunto were you called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example that ye should follow his steps. So Christ suffered wrongfully. But like I said, in my time being around in the Hebrew Israelite community, I've seen our people, man, and majority of them are not willing to suffer wrongfully. They're not. A lot of our people are not willing to submit to a leader, not a gentle leader, let alone a froward leader. They're not. It's just the curse is wired up in their mind that they're not dealing with. People are not dealing with what's between their ears. They're not dealing with it. So this is a major thing. This is the elephant in the room in the so-called Hebrew Israelite community. I saw where another group just split up recently. I think Sakari, they had a major split. I guess it was over doctrinal things, And, I don't know what all it was about, but, it tells us to come together, O nation, not desire. We've had our stuff right here in Straightway. We've had a bunch of stuff over the last couple months, Very avoidable, very avoidable. But again, we got to, like the title of this show, thoughts are not facts. Feelings are not facts. Emotions are not facts. They're just emotions. But people identify with them too much. Okay? Let's see what else we got here. So, yeah, that is where we are at. But I just wanted to make sure people understand that, that I want to make sure people understand and that people stop believing every thought that pops into your head. Don't believe everything you think. Don't believe it. Believe in the Most High. That's what you need to believe in so that you could have life and have it more abundantly. Anyway, definitely, if you have any comments or questions about what I talked about or anything to add in, put it in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. I'm Michael Israel. You watching Spiritual Combat. Shalom.